The most painful and frustrating part of pursuing your passion, at least in my experience, is that it takes a while to reap any sort of substantial reward from it. I have been orbiting the world of crochet and YouTube now for about a year, and as much as I have loved every step of it, and I'm so incredibly grateful that I can at the very least pay my bills with it, there's still a lot of sacrifices that come with the slow burn of building something. One of those things being my love for shopping and fashion. And the thing is, not only is this a problem so minuscule in the grand scheme of things that it's almost embarrassing to admit that it's a thought that even crosses my mind, but it's also an incredibly closed off and out of touch mindset. I own a sewing machine. I have all the tools I would need. I've just never given myself the time to actually learn how to properly sew. And while I know that my life won't always be this way, I think that one day I will look back on it and be grateful that I experienced it, because it taught me to make do with what I have and to be grateful that no matter what, I have always been privileged enough to have a choice. So in this series, I will be making the choice to learn how to sew, knit, and enhance my crochet skills in order to build my dream wardrobe. I have plans this weekend to go on a bar crawl with my family. It's kind of a tradition that we do every Christmas called the 12 Pubs of Christmas, but we thought, why not test out a Christmas in July pub crawl? This is a tradition that I always look forward to, and I always like to dress in a super cute fit for it. It is, however, the middle of winter and it's freezing in Melbourne right now, so that poses a bit of a threat to my usual styling plans. However, with this in mind and the fact that I have honestly such small experience with an actual sewing machine, I decided for my first garment that I would make a simple strapless bodice. That way I can wear a jacket or a bolero with it, and I hopefully won't be too cold. It was important to me that there was no boning like a corset for this top, because that is an extra step that I might not necessarily be ready for, and it was also important to me that there was a zipper fastening so that I can get in and out of it without having to dislocate my shoulders in the process. Originally I was going to freehand a pattern because my toxic trait is thinking that I can just make it work, but often, especially with sewing, that has never worked out in my favor. Eventually I will freehand my garments, but for now I think using patterns is probably best. I found this pattern on Etsy and it's pretty much exactly what I was looking for, so after finding this, I went to my local fabric store to look for the materials. I had it in my mind that I wanted it to be plaid. I'm really particular about plaid, but I fell in love with this fabric that I ended up finding. I also just got some grey cotton to line it with, and then this 40cm open-ended zipper, and then I also replaced my tailor's chalk because the one that I had was absolutely shocking. This first day of filming, I was recovering from a pretty nasty cold, so I wasn't really in the mood to yap, and I just wanted to put a movie on and get everything sorted. But basically day one just consisted of cutting the pattern out and then cutting the actual fabric in preparation for the scariest part, sewing. I had to go back to the fabric store just now. So sorry for the mess back here, by the way. There's no excuse that I can give you. It's just messy. I had to go back to the fabric store because my zipper ended up being too big. I bought a 40cm zipper because that's what the pattern called for, but I hadn't read in the pattern that it said that was just an estimate, and it really depended on the size of the pattern that you end up making. So when I cut out my back panel yesterday, I measured it against my zipper, and my zipper was probably like almost 10 centimeters too long. And I measured my panel and it was 32 centimeters long. So I went back to the fabric store today. She recommended that I get a 35cm zipper because she only had 35 or 30. She said with like what I'm making, it's better off that you have a full length zipper because of the fit that you're going for with that kind of garment. And obviously 35cm is longer than 32cm, but she did say that you can like stitch the excess zip into the seam. I didn't want to tell her that I'm a beginner sewer and I probably won't be able to figure that out, but she did say that if I can't make that work, that I can go back and exchange for the shorter one anyway. Also, I have this giant pimple right here. It's massive. It's a mountain. It's like a blind pimple, so it's like deeply under my skin, but it's red. So even though it's deeply under my skin, everyone can still see it's there. So good. By the way, look at these pants that I thrifted. How cute are they? They were $5. Anyway, that's where I'm at. So I'm gonna like stop rambling and get into it.
Let's stop and stare for a minute, cause there is divinity there where the sinners breathe.
My panels are officially done. It's time to actually start sewing now, which I'm really nervous about, but we're on the journey together and that makes me feel better and more determined.
Limited destiny, free. It's not a lie, the truth is within. Leave.
I've been testing out different stitches on some scrap fabric here. I've done a zigzag stitch, but that's just what my machine was already set to, so I was never intending on using a zigzag stitch. I don't know what any of these stitches are called, to be honest with you, but I've done the same style of stitch for these bottom three, but just with slightly different tensions, and this one here was my favorite. Let me give you like a little background to my experience in sewing. So this is my machine that my great grandma gave me. So I've grown up around sewing and garment creation, which is why it is such a big passion of mine, but I've never actually like taken the time to learn how to sew. I've also never had the patience for it. I did study fashion at uni. I had one garment creation class. I was awful at it. I hated it. I borderline failed it, and I did have to make garments in that, but I always made them in such a rush with no care and no desire to actually learn the skills. Everything that I learned in that class kind of went in one ear and out the other, and then I just never wanted to touch sewing ever again. And I'm realizing through this process that that's because I was doing things that were, first of all, too advanced for me, and secondly, I was using fabric that was too stretchy. If you're a beginner, you should use much stiffer materials. That's what I've gone for with this garment, which is why like this has been so easy for me to do. Like, look at how smooth that line is. I just can't even believe that I did that, because I have never been able to do anything like this, and I know that it's like the most simple thing ever. And this is with a 1 centimeter seam allowance, which I feel like is easy to work with. I'm going to get into actually like pinning things together and getting started. I'm calling it a night now. My next steps are I have to like kind of iron seams flat and stuff like that, and I don't want to do that when everyone's at home because I'll just get in their way. This is what I've done so far. So I've got these 3 panels stitched together. It's upside down, so that'll sit like that. I was really confused as to how to stitch this together because this middle panel here, the sides were really flat, and then these outer panels were curved, and I was like, how the hell am I supposed to stitch these together when they don't line up? I looked it up, and apparently you just pin as many pins as you can along the seam so that the seam lines up, and it will kind of like bunch up a little bit, but all of the bunching up will be spread out along the seam so that when you open it, it doesn't really look super bunched up, if that makes sense. And it also creates this point at your bust, which is what creates the space for your bust. So you learn something new every day. And then I also have done this section here, which is just like the top accent part will run across the top like that. Feeling good. I feel like I am picking it up fairly quickly, which is good, and it's helping me stay motivated. So I'm excited to keep doing more of this tomorrow. There you go. These little seams are the ones that I struggle the most with because I tend to get nervous about how small the seam is, and every time I've done like a really thin seam allowance, I have my fabric get stuck in the machine because like it sucks it in with the needle. The seam that I've done is quite close to the edge of these panels. In fact, I think it's not actually gone through. This is what it looks like from the front. Obviously it's like a raw edge still. It's kind of dipped in the seam, and then like if I turn it around, look at how like close to the edge that is. Oh yeah, it's actually not, like if I fold it inside out, it's actually not seamed that part. That means I'm gonna have to undo it and repin the whole thing again. That's so annoying. Okay, I'm gonna unpick it and redo this. so much going on. It's like a zoo in here. I've got the cat trying to climb me. I've got the dog trying to climb me. I just got back from the gym, so excuse the sweaty look. I last night finished the lining. I just kind of wanted to do it off camera because I feel like that's not really fun to watch. I'm just repeating all of the same steps that I did for the main fabric, so there's not really any point in me filming it. Today, I need to lock in. I don't want to have to do any more of this tomorrow, not because I'm not enjoying it, but because I have plans tomorrow night. I also want to edit this video all day tomorrow, so I don't want to actually like have any sewing left to do tomorrow. We'll see what happens. I get distracted a lot. I just started the Trainwreck Woodstock Netflix show. I'm a bit behind on that. That came out like quite a while ago, but because I watched the Astro World one, then I was like, oh, I'll watch the Woodstock one too. Also, the Astro World one was like really sugar-coated, apparently. I feel like they did not talk about the victims enough or like their experience. Anyway, let me show you where we're at. I have a lot more energy now. I feel like the beginning of the week I was so like down in the dumps because I was also like sick. I feel like I can feel the life coming back into me, so that's cool. Couldn't actually see what the back of the garment looked like when I had wrapped it around me, so I asked mum to have a look, and she reckons that once I add the zipper and I do all of the like last seaming and stuff, that this will actually be like a good size. Also, in saying that, worst case scenario, I had a look at the instructions last night, and adding the zipper is the very last step, so if I really need to, I can still cut off excess before adding the zipper. This is what this part looks like. Obviously, I'm wrapping it around my hoodie, so you can't really get the shape properly, but I'm honestly really impressed with myself for this front section, especially because doing all of this seaming and making sure that this all sits properly, this might be my new thing. And then I just did the lining as well, so it's literally exactly the same thing. Today I need to stitch the lining to the main fabric and then kind of like fold it all inside out, do all of the last seaming, press it with my iron, and my iron, it's my parents' iron, and then add the zipper. This was so naive of me to think that I could possibly do this, but I really wanted to make a matching set this week. Like I wanted to have a top and pants set, but I don't know why I thought that that would even be possible considering this is the first time I've actually ever sewn myself something to wear. I don't know why I thought that like I would be just like really good at it really instantly and really, really speedy. That's something I can do later down the line anyway. I can always go back to the fabric store, get more of this fabric and make pants like later down the line, but that won't be happening in time for this weekend. That's my little ramble. I will shut up now and I'm going to finish this top today. We're locking in. We're gonna finish it and everything's gonna go right. Okay. I need to do it down the bottom now. The zipper is just a little bit too long. I mean, I already knew that it was going to be a little bit too long, but I really don't know how to pin this in place. Obviously, you would bend it this way and then stitch like that, and then this part would go into the panel. I don't know how to explain this. I'll show you. Hold on. So the zipper is going to be stitched in like this. This, when you fold it back inside out, will be on the outside of the garment. So it'll be pushed inside like that. But then this top part here that I need to fold, it would need to be folded that way instead of like out like that. Should I just do it and see what happens? This is how I've ended up pinning it. Up here, I cut like a little slit. I just pinned it in place. I don't know. I'm hoping that it will go well. I'm just going to do one side first and then flip it inside out and see what it looks like before I do this side as well. Okay.
CNN would have a story, okay? To the bathroom and having it. So I start hunting. from the start. I had it all. I drove all night.
Helicopter has arrived.
Okay, so I cut off about 4 centimeters, I reckon, in total, and I couldn't fit the zipper section through the machine. So I had to basically stitch the whole thing with the foot up. This is the last time I'm gonna try and do this zipper. I've cut an extra centimeter off each side, so I'm hoping it's not gonna be too... This cat. Seriously. She gets to like this time of the day where she gets really cuddly, which is 3:30, 4 o'clock. Don't know why. It's hard when I'm doing things like this because I'm up and down the whole time. My hair is so frizzy. When did it get like that? So disheveled after trying to do this zipper 3 times. I have cut an extra centimeter off each end because of the way that I'm gonna have to do the zipper. It's so hard to explain and my brain is so cooked that I just genuinely, I've had enough. But basically when I stitch the zipper, it's gonna protrude quite a bit out of like the actual top, which is kind of annoying because I kind of wanted it to be more of like a hidden zipper, but my sewing machine just can't go over the zipper. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. I don't know how. I've never even attempted to sew a zipper onto anything. So yeah, you guys might have to tell me what I'm doing wrong and if I'm meant to have like a different foot or something for the sewing machine. I don't know. I'm just gonna sew and there's just gonna be quite a lot of the zipper showing, but that's why I've cut more off of the top itself. This will be my last step and I can be done with this top. We just checked into this hotel. We're running really late, so I'm going to quickly show you this. I don't know, I might vlog a little bit of my night just because I'm really excited for the night, but I also might not. So this might be the last time that you see me, but this is what the top looks like. So cute. This is my fit. So obviously I have the top that I made. These pants are thrifted. These loafers, I cannot remember where I got them from. And then this bangle was thrifted. This watch was my nan's. These bangles are my nan's. And yeah, and then I'm wearing this bag from Bershka. And then this fur coat, which I believe is from Valley Girl. Yes. Yeah. So really happy with the top, really happy with how it turned out. I think I've honestly outdone myself considering it's the very first thing I've ever sewed for myself. I did tape my boobs, so the top doesn't naturally make my boobs sit like this, but it is tight enough, which is good. But this is what it looks like. I'll show you the view that we have from our room. It's really pretty. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I'm really excited to go on a little bit of a sewing journey. Next week, I think I'm going to do a mixture of sewing and crochet. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, because I feel like this is going to be a really fun journey. Have a beautiful day and I will see you in next week's video.